Racial Justice Rising is a Greenfield-based, fully volunteer racial justice activism group that hosts weekly vigils for racial justice and monthly educational programs. The members of its group believe that the damage caused by racism must be repaired before society can truly be whole. I spoke with members Gloria Matlock and Sharin about their work.
We started with a small group of mostly white people who were concerned about racism. We acknowledged the racism in our society and wanted to do some things to raise awareness in other white people.
And so what was the feedback that you received from the community as you were starting this effort?
You know, it was mostly really positive. There were people who were very interested, who had a hunger for more information and to learn. And at first we had to really think about what's our mission going to be? How are we going to, is our mission going to be to educate? Is our mission going to be something more actively activist than educating? And we decided we wanted it to include components of both.
And you do still have kept that through the entire decade. We'll talk about that more in a minute, but Gloria, I want to bring you into the conversation too. So when you joined the organization, what inspired you to get involved?
I went to a program, one of the programs, and I liked the name of the organization. It was first called Mass Slavery Apology, and I was curious as to what the whole program was about. So that's what inspired me. It was the name.
Great, and you've gone on, you've made a documentary about your own past,
right,
and then been involved in the organization. What do you feel like the role in the community is for Racial Justice Rising?
Well, I think mostly it's to bring people together and to bring people to a better understanding of the topic of race. And it also helps people that are having difficulties that wouldn't otherwise be able to get information about where to get help, or, you know, we help them sometimes to connect to the right person.
What's an example of that? What are some of the things that you've helped people in the community with around the idea of race and social justice?
My big thing is education and students, and I would think bringing the community together by having the programs and recognizing what is needed in the community.
So we've mentioned a few times now the programs that you hold, and they're monthly around a specific topic. Is this something that the volunteers get together and decide based on, as Gloria is saying, that feedback from the community?
Sometimes it's based from feedback from the community, and sometimes it's just like, you know, I heard about this person who has, you know, really interesting information about such and such, and let's bring them in. Or, you know, wouldn't it be interesting to have a panel conversation about something or other?
Most recently was about racism, ageism, and health care. What's one thing that stood out to you from that program that you walked away and said, aha, the rest of the community really needs to know this?
Oh gosh, each of the speakers made a lot of points. One woman talked about how her mother was treated in her old age in a medical setting, you know.
Something else the organization does is hold weekly vigils on the Greenfield Town Common. And I think, you know, we look at the national news and sometimes protests or vigils turn violent. This has not been the case in Greenfield, correct? So does Racial Justice Rising work with its members around the idea of nonviolent dissent?
We've had trainings to what to expect, you know, and, you know, it's been very few times where we've had, like I had for once, someone yell right into my face. Not so wonderful things, but
when that person yelled in your face, how did you respond?
Well, actually, I was shocked. I wasn't expecting that, but it did leave a bit of I was affected by it. It was this man who was white, and he just started yelling right to my nose. His face was to my nose, but fortunately, there were people in the community that heard him and immediately got help, called the police, and the man was removed. So, I mean, that was the beauty of that, people working together and bringing the community in Greenfield, together.
I was thinking back to when President Obama was elected, and there was a lot of discussion about this idea of a post-racial society now that we had an African-American president in office. Gloria, you're chuckling a little bit there. What do you think about that concept now in 2019? Were we just completely misguided that we were having that conversation to begin with, or what do you think?
I mean, that concept of being post-racial, no. It's, of course, we know worse now. But it would be nice to have a, post-racial society. It would be nice for us to all, be together and work together and to continue. And that's one thing that I can say about Greenfield is that a lot of people work together. There are a lot of people that really, if there's an issue, people are on the town common, and they really work hard. They're working hard, and not everyone's mind has changed, but I think we're working towards that.